Okay, real question. What's scarier? Humanity going extinct or humanity surviving in the worst possible forms imaginable?
No, because that sounds fake, like edgy sci-fi YouTube thumbnail fake.
It wish it was, but this is actually the premise of All Tomorrows, and it does not pull its punches.
This is the book where humans don't just lose, they get remixed. Like cosmic Photoshop went feral.
Exactly. Humanity spreads across the stars, thinks it's winning the universe, and then runs into an alien species that basically says, "Cool story, now become furniture."
That sentence alone should come with a warning label.
And the worst part? The horror isn't just the designs, it's that most of these creatures are still human enough to understand what they've lost.
Which is evil. That's not even sci-fi anymore. That's emotional damage with illustrations.
Welcome to Solo Filler, the podcast where we break down stuff in a conversational way so you can just follow along. Think of it as something you can leave on in the background while you work or whatever. Hello, I'm John.
And I'm Lily, here to ask the exact question you're already thinking, which is, who hurt the author?
Today on Solo Filler, we're diving into All Tomorrows, the future of humanity, the alien species known as the Q, and the absolutely cursed human forms they leave behind.
We're talking body horror, existential dread, and the kind of sci-fi that makes you stare at the wall afterward like, damn, okay.
Quick heads up, full spoilers for All Tomorrows. If you want to read it first, it's free online and it's a fast read.
But if you're staying, buckle up, because this story asks one brutal question over and over again.
What if humanity didn't get wiped out, but punished?
Cool, love that, hate it. Let's go.
All right, so before we get to the nightmare fuel, we need some context. All Tomorrows doesn't start with monsters. It starts with humanity actually doing pretty well.
Which is always a red flag in sci-fi. The moment things are going good, I'm like, okay, how bad is this about to get?
Yeah, exactly. So the basic setup is that humanity figures out large-scale space travel and starts colonizing other planets. The big one early on is Mars.
Classic. We always go Mars first. No imagination.
To be fair, they go all in. Terraforming, long-term planning, generations living in transit. It's not a quick flag on the surface thing. This is humanity committing.
So not Elon Musk vibes. More like your great-grandkids might see sunlight.
Pretty much. And eventually Mars becomes fully livable. But here's where things start getting interesting. Mars and Earth don't stay the same.
Because why would they?
People on Mars slowly adapt to lower gravity, lighter bodies, different physical traits, better resistance to the planet's conditions. Over time, they're still human, but not Earth human anymore.
So like, same character class, different build.
That's actually a perfect way to put it. Meanwhile, Earth keeps most of the population and pushes its worst industries off-world. Pollution, heavy manufacturing, Mars takes the hit.
Oh wow, so Earth basically outsourced the grind and then acted surprised when Mars got strong.
Exactly. Mars ends up with fewer people, better conditions, and more resources, and Earth starts getting nervous.
Let me guess. Earth goes, hey, remember when we said Mars was independent? We lied.
Yep. That tension eventually turns into an interplanetary war, mostly automated, mostly distant, but devastating.
Which somehow feels worse, like pressing buttons and deleting cities from across space.
The war kills billions. Neither side really wins, and once it's over, both planets realize something important.
That they almost wiped themselves out for ego reasons?
That, and that biological differences between humans are becoming a real problem. So humanity makes a wild decision.
Uh-oh. Anytime a species says, we'll fix this with genetics, it never ends well.
They decide to engineer a new version of humanity, a standardized human that can live anywhere. These become known as the Star People.
That name alone feels like it comes with lore consequences.
The Star People are smarter, more capable, more adaptable, and with them, humanity reunifies and expands hard, colonizing the solar system and beyond.
So at this point, humanity actually learns its lesson?
Yeah, for a while, yeah. This is kind of the peak, the golden age. Humans spread across the galaxy, building worlds, sending machines ahead to terraform planets, even growing new humans from stored DNA instead of transporting people directly.
That's efficient. Also mildly unsettling.
Very unsettling, actually. But the important thing is this: humanity thinks it's alone. No other intelligent life, just them.
Which is the most dangerous sentence in sci-fi.
Exactly. Because the moment they find signs that they aren't alone, everything changes. All right, this is where things actually go sideways. Humanity's out here thinking it's alone in the universe, just vibing across the galaxy, when they stumble onto something that immediately kills that idea.
Which is always how it goes. The universe never lets you enjoy peace for more than 5 minutes.
So, one day, humans discover the remains of a creature on a distant planet. And the problem is, it looks Earth-like.
Pause. Like, that shouldn't be there, Earth-like?
Exactly that. Same basic biology, same design language, which means something took an Earth creature and moved it across the galaxy.
And humanity immediately goes, oh cool, aliens exist. Wait, no, that's terrifying.
Yeah, because whatever did that is advanced enough to travel insane distances and manipulate life. So humanity panics hard.
As they should. That's not a friendly first contact scenario. That's a horror movie cold open.
Weapons get stockpiled, defensive tech ramps up. The Star People prepare for a war they hope never happens.
Which means it's absolutely happening.
Enter the Q.
Yes. The main problem.
The Q are an alien species that's been around for close to 1 billion years. They're not just technologically advanced, they've mastered genetics.
Not like CRISPR is neat, like we edit reality for fun.
Exactly. Over their evolution, they learned how to completely reshape themselves, then other species, then entire ecosystems.
So when they look at humans...
They don't see rivals. They see raw material.
That's such a gross way to put it, but yeah, that tracks.
When the Q encounter humanity, it's not a war in the traditional sense. Humans try to resist, but it barely matters. Within about 1,000 years,
Which is nothing on a cosmic timeline.
human civilization is completely crushed.
Not conquered, not occupied, just ended.
But here's the important distinction. Humanity isn't wiped out.
Oh no.
The Q are confused by one thing. Every planet humans colonized looks the same. Same plants, same animals, same biosphere.
Because humans terraformed everything into Earth 2 Aden.
Right. And the Q take this personally. They see it as humans trying to reshape the universe in their image.
Which is ironic, considering what they do next.
They decide humanity deserves punishment, not extinction, humiliation.
This is where the book crosses from sci-fi into I regret having eyes.
The Q begin genetically reshaping humans into new forms, each designed to suffer, stagnate, or exist in ways that mock what humanity used to be.
And some of them stay sentient.
Yeah, fully aware of what they've become.
That's the evil part. That's the part where I stop rooting for science.
The Q rule over these transformed humans for tens of millions of years. Then one day, without explanation, they just leave.
No cleanup, no mercy, just a galaxy full of broken people.
And what's left behind are the descendants of humanity, twisted into forms that were never meant to exist.
Cool, so now the real horror starts.
Yeah, because next we're getting into the actual post-human species and what each of them was turned into.
Awesome. Can't wait to emotionally recover from that.
All right. Up until now, this has been big picture horror, galactic scale, civilizations falling.
Yeah, it's been very zoomed out, like depressing space documentary energy.
Exactly. Chapter 3 is where the camera zooms way in.
So this is where we stop talking about humanity as a concept and start talking about individuals.
Pretty much. Because once the Qual are done conquering humanity, they don't just leave a crater and move on.
They start experimenting.
Yeah, and this is important. The Quad don't randomly mutate humans. Every change has a purpose: punishment, utility, or mockery.
So this isn't chaos, it's curated suffering.
That's a great way to put it. They reshape humans into entirely new species, each adapted to a specific environment or role.
And somehow that makes it worse.
Some of these post-human species lose almost all sentience. Others keep just enough awareness to understand what they used to be.
Which is the difference between mercy and cruelty in this book.
Exactly. And the Qual leave these species scattered across different planets, isolated from each other, unable to rebuild anything resembling human civilization.
So humanity doesn't die together, it gets split into 1,000 different bad endings.
And that's why this next section is where All Tomorrows really earns its reputation.
Because now we stop saying post-humans in general and start naming them.
From here on out, we're going to break these species down one by one.
Each one being a different answer to the question, what's the worst way you could still be alive?
We'll talk about what they look like, how they live, how much of their humanity they keep, and whether there was ever any real hope for them.
So if you're squeamish, this is your warning.
Because coming up next,
The worms.
and that's where things get genuinely uncomfortable. All right, so we're starting with the worms, and honestly, that feels intentional.
Yeah, opening with the worst vibes imaginable. Love that for us.
The worms are one of the earliest post-human species the Qui create, and they're rough. These are humans reshaped into long, fleshy, limbless, or almost limbless creatures that spend their entire lives underground.
So, right away, zero dignity. Just dirt forever.
They still have small, stunted arms and legs, but they're barely useful, mostly for digging and crawling. Their eyes are reduced to tiny pinpricks, almost symbolic more than functional.
Which somehow makes it worse. Like they're allowed to see just enough to know things are bad.
Exactly. Their entire existence is limited to burrowing, feeding, and reproducing. There's no culture, no tools, no progress, just biological routine.
NPC behavior, literally.
Here's the key thing, though. The worms have very low sentience.
And that's a mercy?
In this book, yeah. Compared to what's coming, the worms might actually be lucky.
That's a sentence I hate agreeing with.
Most of their higher human cognition is gone. They don't really remember what they were. They don't sit around contemplating their fate.
They're miserable, but not aware enough to be existentially miserable.
Right, which introduces one of All Tomorrow's most brutal ideas. Ignorance is kindness.
That's such a cursed theme.
The Qui essentially strip these humans down to biological components. No ambition, no future, just a body optimized to survive underground.
So, humanity's first post-human form is a species that exists only to continue existing.
Exactly. No suffering with meaning, no suffering with an end.
Just vibes. Bad ones.
And this is important going forward. The worms set the baseline. From here on out, every other post-human species is judged against this.
Which is wild because this is already horrific.
Some species will retain more intelligence. Some will rebuild fragments of culture. Others will suffer consciously.
Meaning the worms are the control group for pain.
Pretty much. They show us what the Qui consider the minimum.
Cool, so it gets worse.
Yeah, because next up, we're talking about a species that does remember what it used to be.
Oh no.
The Mantelopes. All right, if the worms were disturbing because they didn't know what they were, the Mantelopes are disturbing for the opposite reason.
Oh good, awareness. My favorite horror ingredient.
The Mantelopes are quadrupedal grazing creatures, basically human-derived beings reshaped into something like antelope bodies.
So already we're off to a bad start.
But here's the crucial difference. The Mantelopes retain a lot of their human brain function.
Oh no.
They can think, they can communicate, they can sing. Some of them can even speak.
That's devastating, actually.
Yeah, they're dropped into this new form almost immediately after being human, with no time to adapt psychologically.
So imagine waking up one day as a grazing animal, but still fully aware you used to be a person.
Exactly. And instead of being wiped out, the Q keep them around.
For what? Please don't say for fun.
For record keeping.
That's worse.
The Mantelopes act as living archives. They remember history, they sing songs about the past, they pass down oral traditions.
So humanity's memories survive, trapped in bodies that can't act on them.
Exactly. They graze in fields, sing mournful songs, develop religions, myths, entire belief systems centered around loss.
This feels like the Q saying, "We're not just killing you, we're making sure you remember."
That's the humiliation aspect. The Mantelopes aren't efficient workers or soldiers. They exist as reminders.
Trophies, basically.
Over centuries, though, something changes. Maintaining high intelligence takes energy and stimulation.
Which grazing all day does not provide.
Right. The less intelligent Mantelopes survive better. They're calmer, better grazers, more reproductively successful.
So evolution starts doing something horrifying.
It slowly removes their sentience.
They forget.
Yeah. The songs stop, the myths fade, the oral histories disappear.
That might actually be mercy.
In a twisted way, it is. By the time the Q finally leave, the Mantelopes are mostly just animals.
So humanity's memories die, not with violence, but with boredom.
That's one of the cruelest ideas in the book.
They didn't get wiped out, they just stopped remembering they mattered.
And that's what makes the Mantelopes so tragic. They prove that sentience doesn't guarantee survival. Sometimes it makes extinction slower.
Cool, so we've gone from ignorance being mercy to memory being torture.
Exactly. And next, we're talking about what happens when the Q decide memory isn't enough.
Oh no.
Next up, the Colonials. All right, before we start, this is the worst one.
You say that every time.
I know, this time I actually mean it.
Great.
The Colonials were originally star people from the worlds that resisted the coup the hardest.
So, of course, they get punished the most.
Exactly. These were humans who fought back, who held the line, who refused to break.
Which, in this universe, is apparently a crime.
When the coup finally won, they decided to make an example out of them.
Oh no.
The Colonials aren't really creatures in the normal sense.
That's never a good sign.
They're disembodied sheets of skin and muscle, no limbs, no organs, just patches of living tissue with a rudimentary nervous system.
I regret asking.
They exist to consume waste left behind by the coup. That's their function.
So, they're alive as filtration systems.
Yes, and here's the part that makes this unforgivable.
I'm already bracing.
The Colonials retain full sentience.
No.
They can think, they can feel pain, they can understand exactly what they've become.
That's not punishment, that's cruelty for sport.
The coup even give them eyes,
Why?
so they can see each other, the waste they consume, the endless surface they're fused into.
That's actively malicious.
They reproduce asexually. Every time they do, they feel guilt for creating another being doomed to suffer.
So even reproduction is trauma?
The only hope they have is death,
Finally.
which never comes.
Of course it doesn't.
When the coup leave, the Colonials don't die out. They were engineered to be nearly impossible to extinguish.
So the universe just forgets about them?
Over time, they merge together. Massive quilted fields of living flesh, eyes staring upward.
Planets covered in suffering that can't scream loud enough?
They beg for extinction.
And don't get it.
This is the coup at their most honest. No efficiency, no necessity, just humiliation.
They didn't want humans gone.
They wanted humans to regret existing.
Okay, yeah, that wins.
And if you're wondering,
Yes, it somehow still gets worse.
next up, species that almost escape this fate.
Almost is doing a lot of work there.
All right, after the Colonials, we need to talk about a species that almost brings hope back into the story.
Almost is doing some heavy lifting.
Very heavy. These are the Titans.
Okay, that name at least sounds cool.
It does. And visually, they're massive. Towering beings that roam open plains, some of them reaching around 40 meters in length.
So humanity really said, fine, make us huge.
The Titans are descended from humans whose bodies were reshaped into enormous trunked forms. Their limbs are thick and pillar-like, and their hands are reduced to massive simplified structures.
So not dexterous, but powerful.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that their size actually helps them regain a degree of sentience.
Wait, how does being huge make you smarter?
Think of it like this. Bigger bodies, bigger brains, slower lives. The Titans aren't scrambling just to survive.
They have time to think.
Right. Over time, they begin to carve symbols and shapes into the landscape using their trunks.
Hold on. Are we talking about art?
Yes, primitive but intentional. It's the first real sign since the Q invasion that something human is coming back.
That's kind of beautiful, actually.
It is. The Titans even start forming loose social structures, not civilizations, but communities.
So this is the first maybe humanity makes it moment.
Exactly. Out of all the post-human species, the Titans are considered one of the most promising.
Which means?
Yeah, something goes wrong.
Of course it does.
A massive ice age sweeps across their planet.
Oh, come on.
The Titans are too specialized, too slow. They can't adapt quickly enough.
So after all that,
They go extinct.
that's brutal. Not even the Q, just bad luck.
And that's what makes it hurt. The universe doesn't need to be cruel for hope to die.
Sometimes it just shrugs.
The Titans show us that even when humanity starts to rebuild, when intelligence, creativity, and community return,
It still might not be enough.
exactly. Hope exists, it's just fragile.
So we got a glimpse of recovery and then it vanished.
Yeah. And next, we're looking at what happens when humans don't rebuild society at all.
Oh no.
Predators and herbivores. All right, after the brief hope with the Titans, this next part is quieter, but in some ways more depressing.
Because now humanity isn't even trying to come back.
Exactly. On several worlds, humans are reshaped into predators and herbivores. Not societies, not cultures, just ecosystems.
So we've officially gone full nature documentary.
Pretty much. These post-humans evolve into forms that mirror Earth animals. Sharp-toothed hunters, massive grazing creatures.
Except they're still kind of human.
Yeah, that's the unsettling part. Their bodies are animal-like, but traces of humanity remain in their posture, faces, and behaviors.
Like Uncanny Valley, but in the savannah.
Some of the predators retain a sliver of intelligence, enough to cooperate, strategize, maybe even remember.
Which sounds like it would help.
But it doesn't. It just makes the hunting more efficient.
Cool. Love that for them.
The herbivores, on the other hand, are larger, slower, and simpler. They exist to be hunted.
So humanity becomes both sides of the food chain.
Exactly. Humans hunting humans. Humans fleeing humans.
That feels intentional.
It is. This is the Qui stripping humanity of identity entirely. No memory, no progress, just instinct.
All that history and effort reduced to teeth and fear.
What makes this section especially bleak is how stable it is. These ecosystems last for millions of years.
So nothing changes. No rise, no fall.
Just endless cycles of survival.
Honestly, that might be worse than extinction.
And that's kind of the point. Humanity doesn't get a dramatic ending here.
They just blend into the background of the planet.
And it reinforces the Qui's message. Without intelligence and unity, humans are just animals.
Which hurts more because we know what they used to be.
Exactly. And from here, the story pivots again, because not all species stay trapped in instinct forever.
Oh, a comeback?
A partial one.
Those are always dangerous.
Next up, the bone crushers. All right? If the predators and herbivores were humanity at its most reduced, the bone crushers are where intelligence starts clawing its way back.
Which means we're about to get our hopes up again. Fantastic.
The bone crushers are massive, ogre-like beings over 10 feet tall, with huge, powerful bodies built for hunting.
So basically, if evolution min-maxed strength.
Pretty much. They have enormous beak-like mouths used to tear apart prey, and their bodies are clearly designed to dominate their environment.
Apex predators with attitude.
What makes them different from earlier predators is their brain. Over millions of years, they slowly redevelop higher intelligence.
Not full human brain, but enough.
Exactly. Roughly comparable to very early humans. Tool use, social groups, basic planning.
Okay, so this is real civilization adjacent stuff.
It is. They start forming primitive societies, not advanced, but structured.
So after everything, humanity might actually reboot.
For a moment, yeah. Of all the post-human species so far, the bone crushers get the closest to reclaiming what was lost.
And that's where the catch is hiding.
They're obligate carnivores.
Ah,
They require a constant supply of meat to survive.
which doesn't scale well.
Exactly. Their planets simply can't support large populations of massive apex predators.
So growth equals collapse.
Every time. Their societies rise, then starve.
That's brutal. They didn't fail intellectually, they failed biologically.
Right. The coup didn't need to intervene. The design itself guarantees stagnation.
So close, and still locked out.
Eventually, their civilizations crumble. The bone crushers survive as predators, but never as a lasting society.
Humanity gets intelligence back, but not sustainability.
And that's the pattern here. Every step forward comes with a built-in ceiling.
It's like the universe saying, you can try, but you're not allowed to win.
Exactly. And from here, the story shifts again.
Please tell me it doesn't get worse.
It gets stranger.
Oh no.
Next up, the Flyers. All right, after all the ground-based suffering, the next group finally gets off the planet.
Flight sounds like freedom, which means it's probably a lie.
Pretty much. The Flyers are humans reshaped into a wide range of flying forms, some bird-like, some closer to pterosaurs, and others that are just weird.
Weird how?
Some of them rely on massive wings, others use swollen gas-filled organs to stay aloft.
Okay, yeah, that's cursed.
Despite the grotesque biology, the Flyers actually don't have the worst existence compared to earlier species.
That feels illegal to say.
They take to the skies quickly, and for many of them, flight becomes the focus of their lives.
So sentience takes a backseat.
Exactly. Most Flyers lose much of their higher intelligence. They trade awareness for instinct and sensation.
Honestly, I kind of get it.
There is one particularly notable Flyer, though, one that retains a large portion of its human brain.
Of course there is.
This one is given a turbine-like heart that allows sustained flight.
That sounds metal.
It is. And because it keeps more intelligence, it also keeps more awareness.
Which ruins everything.
Exactly. While most Flyers seem content just flying, this one exists in a state of constant tension, aware of what it is and what it lost.
So even in the sky, the curse follows.
Over time, some Flyers begin to experiment.
Uh-oh.
They deliberately give up flight
Why would you do that?
in an attempt to regain intelligence.
That never goes well.
Their wings atrophy into small hand-like appendages.
Please tell me the hands work?
They don't.
Fantastic.
These become known as the hand flappers.
That name alone is tragic.
They lose flight but don't regain the ability to build or manipulate tools.
So they sacrificed freedom for nothing.
Exactly. They survive through rituals and mating displays but never rebuild anything meaningful.
Another almost.
That's the theme. Flight gave them escape but not purpose.
So even the sky isn't enough.
Nope. And next, we're looking at one of the most frustrating fates in the book.
Oh no.
The lizard herders. All right. If there's a species in this book that feels personally frustrating, it's the lizard herders.
That's a strong opener. What did they do to deserve that title?
Nothing. That's the problem.
Oh, cool. Love when horror is just unfair.
The lizard herders are physically very close to baseline humans. Same general body shape, same hands, same posture.
So they're basically right there.
Exactly. If any post-human group should be able to rebuild civilization, it's them.
Which means the Kui absolutely made sure they couldn't.
Yep. The Kui removed the part of their brains responsible for higher learning and long-term progress.
That's evil. That's just evil.
They can think a little, they can react, but they can't innovate. They can't truly learn.
So they're trapped at a permanent intellectual level cap.
Exactly. They live alongside large herbivorous lizards on their planet, creatures that humans originally brought as pets.
Of course they were pets. That makes it worse.
The lizard herders follow these animals, eat alongside them, and rely on them for survival.
So they're not even dominant.
Nope. And here's the real insult. Over time, the lizards keep evolving.
Please don't say they get smarter.
They do.
I hate it here.
The lizards eventually surpass the lizard herders in intelligence.
So humanity gets outpaced by its own former pets.
Yes, and once that happens, the lizard herders slowly disappear.
Extinction by humiliation.
Exactly. The tragedy here isn't suffering, it's wasted potential.
They had hands, they had bodies, they had everything except permission to think.
Which makes this one of the clearest examples of the Quee's intent.
They didn't just want humans gone.
They wanted humans to know they could have come back and be denied forever.
That might actually be worse than the Colonials.
It's quieter, but yeah, it's ruthless.
So what's left after this?
Now we start seeing humans flee in desperation, and what happens when even hiding doesn't work.
Oh no.
Next up, the blind folk.
All right, at this point in the story, humans are out of options.
Which means they try hiding.
Exactly. When the Quee invasion begins, some humans flee underground, hoping to wait it out.
Classic survival logic. If you can't fight gods, become a mole.
Unfortunately, the Queen notice.
Of course they do.
The humans who hid beneath the surface are reshaped into what become known as the blind folk.
That name alone tells me everything I need to know.
Their eyes are removed entirely. Instead, their senses are reworked for life underground.
So enhanced hearing, touch.
Long fingers for digging, massive ears, whiskers for navigating tight tunnels.
They basically become living sonar systems.
Exactly. They communicate constantly through sound, vibrations, and touch.
So are they sentient?
To an extent, they retain awareness, but it's focused entirely on survival and communication.
Which sounds exhausting.
It is. The blind folk are described as constantly screaming or calling out, not necessarily in pain, but as a way to orient themselves.
So silence would actually be dangerous.
Right, their world is never quiet.
That's unsettling.
What makes their fate especially cruel is that hiding was a rational choice.
They didn't resist. They didn't fight back.
They tried to survive.
And still got punished.
Exactly. The Quee reshaped them anyway, turning their fear into permanence.
So the lesson is there is no safe strategy.
That's the pattern. Fight, flee, hide, it doesn't matter.
Every response becomes a justification for cruelty.
The blind folk persist for a long time, adapting perfectly to their underground worlds.
But never escaping them.
Right, their existence is stable but sealed.
So humanity doesn't even get the sky or the surface anymore.
Nope, just tunnels.
Great, love that.
And with that, we're almost through the major post-human forms.
Almost.
Because next, we're heading into the water.
Oh no.
Aquatic humans.
All right, at this point, the surface is hostile, the sky is a trap, and the ground isn't safe either.
So naturally, humanity tries the ocean.
Exactly. The Quee reshape a large portion of humanity into aquatic forms. Humans adapted for life entirely underwater.
Let me guess, it's not peaceful.
Not even a little. Some of these forms are massive, giant eel-like beings, whale-sized creatures, things that barely resemble humans at all.
So full sea monster era.
Yeah, and like many of the Quee's creations, most of these aquatic humans don't last.
Extinction speedrun?
Pretty much. Once the Quee leave, the ocean isn't forgiving. The more extreme the mutation, the harder it is to survive long-term.
So the most twisted designs die first?
Exactly. The only aquatic humans that persist are the ones changed the least.
That feels important.
It is. These survivors still have recognizably human features, human-like eyes, hands reshaped into flippers, familiar facial structures.
Which somehow makes them worse to imagine.
Yeah, they're less sentient than humans, but not completely animal.
Stuck in the middle again.
Over time, even that remaining intelligence fades. Evolution pushes them towards simpler aquatic lives.
So the ocean doesn't save memory either.
No, it smooths everything down. Awareness erodes.
That almost sounds peaceful.
Almost. Until you remember they still carry human features.
Right, the eyes.
Exactly. That moment where you recognize something familiar, that's the horror hook.
It's like the book keeps reminding you, these used to be people.
And with the aquatic humans, that reminder is subtle but constant.
So even the ocean, which feels like a reset button, just becomes another eraser.
That's the pattern. No refuge preserves humanity.
Which means we're nearing the end of the post-human catalog.
Yeah, what comes next isn't another species, it's the aftermath.
Finally.
What survives, what doesn't, and what all tomorrows is really saying. All right, so after all of that, after the Qui reshape humanity into dozens of post-human forms, something strange happens.
They leave.
Yeah, no final message, no explanation, no judgment speech.
Which somehow feels worse than if they had monologued.
For tens of millions of years, the Qui rule. And then one day, they're just gone.
Like a kid getting bored with a toy.
Exactly. And what's left behind isn't one humanity, it's fragments. Isolated species scattered across planets, each carrying a distorted piece of what humans used to be.
No unity, no shared history anymore.
Right, but here's the part people sometimes miss. Some of these post-humans do survive long enough to change.
Wait, change how?
Over enormous spans of time, a few lineages slowly redevelop intelligence, not as humans, but as something new.
So humanity doesn't come back.
No, but intelligence does.
That's weirdly hopeful.
It is, and that's what makes All Tomorrows so interesting. It's not saying humanity is special forever.
It's saying intelligence is.
Exactly. The book isn't really about aliens or body horror, those are just the delivery systems.
It's about power.
And humility. Humanity spends the entire first half of the story reshaping planets, replacing ecosystems, assuming dominance is permanent.
And then they meet something that's been doing that longer and better.
The Qui aren't evil because they conquer.
They're evil because they humiliate.
They reduce humanity to experiments, ecosystems, tools, and reminders.
Which forces the uncomfortable question, if we had their power, would we be any better?
That's the real horror.
Not the worms, not the colonials.
But the idea that this story is a mirror.
A very messed up mirror.
All Tomorrows asks what survives when identity, memory, and form are stripped away.
And the answer is, not us, not exactly.
But something keeps going,
Curiosity, intelligence, the urge to understand.
even after everything else is gone.
Which is honestly the only comforting takeaway this book gives you.
Yeah, and with that, that's All Tomorrows.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Solo Filler. If you liked this kind of slow conversational breakdown, feel free to stick around.
And if you didn't,
You probably stopped listening 3 chapters ago.
fair enough. We'll see you next time. All right, before we fully sign off, let's pull everything together.
Yeah, because that was a lot.
So, zooming way out, All Tomorrows starts with humanity at its peak, spreading across the stars, reshaping planets, thinking it's finally won.
And then immediately learning that the universe does not care.
The Qui arrive, and instead of just wiping humanity out, they do something worse.
They let it continue.
They break humanity into pieces. Worms, mantelopes, colonials, titans, predators, flyers, each one a different answer to what survival looks like without power.
Ignorance, memory, punishment, almost hope, instinct.
Every strategy humans try, fighting, hiding, adapting, escaping, gets turned against them.
And none of it brings the old humanity back.
What survives isn't us as we know ourselves.
It's intelligence, curiosity, the slow rebuilding of understanding, sometimes millions of years later.
Which is why this story isn't just body horror or shock value.
It's a warning.
About arrogance, about assuming dominance means permanence.
And about how easily the roles can flip.
All Tomorrows forces you to sit with the idea that humanity might not be the end goal of intelligence.
Just one chapter.
And whether that idea scares you or humbles you,
That's kind of the point.
with that in mind, let's properly wrap things up. All right, before we wrap this up, we just want to say thanks for sticking with us through all of that.
Yeah,
This is not exactly light listening, so if you made it this far, respect.
All Tomorrows is one of those books that doesn't really leave you alone after you're done with it.
It kind of just sits in your brain like, hey, remember me?
What really stuck with me is how small it makes humanity feel, but not in a pointless way.
Yeah, it's depressing, but it's also weirdly humbling.
The book isn't saying humans are worthless, it's saying we're not guaranteed anything.
Power isn't permanent, intelligence isn't permanent, even identity isn't permanent.
But the drive to understand, to keep going, that keeps popping back up.
Even after everything gets taken away.
And honestly, that's why this book works so well. The body horror gets people in the door.
But the ideas are what actually stick.
If you haven't read All Tomorrows yourself, we genuinely recommend checking it out.
It's short, it's free online, and it will absolutely ruin your mood for a bit, in a good way.
And if you liked this kind of slow conversational breakdown, this is basically what we do here.
Yeah, solo filler is meant to be something you can throw on in the background and still come away feeling like you learned something.
So thanks for hanging out with us.
Seriously, thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.